everybody. So the last game of yesterday was Group C's Ivory Coast against Japan, and the game ended up 2-1 for the Ivory Coast. The game started with the Ivory Coast very active, especially through Gervinho, having a couple of good runs and chances that created a few problems for Japan. But then Japan takes over the game, and at minute 15 the ball is on the left with Nagatomo. He passes to Honda, and it is Keisuke Honda with a very strong shot with his left foot, shots into the net, with the Ivory Coast goalkeeper just being able to look at the ball. For the next few minutes the Ivory Coast didn't seem to have any ideas how to take control of the game, and it was Japan that was controlling the ball and controlling the operation. At this point Honda is clearly the player that is having the best game, receiving the ball a lot of times in the midfield and running with it into offense. Was he who was controlling the operations for Japan. He really had to step up his game because Shinji Kagawa, probably the star of the team, had a really awful game. He didn't play well, and because of that Japan would pay the price. In the second part of the first half, finally Ivory Coast starts taking control of the game and having a few plays, but still without much finesse. It seems that they were stumbling into the opponent's box, but they had a few chances, especially for Artur Boca, that had a very good game. In the first minutes of the second half, the game was really split between the two teams, but as I said, the Ivory Coast seemed to have a little bit less finesse, and when the ball was with Japan, they passed the ball around really well, and when they created danger, they created a more beautiful danger. One of the surprises at the beginning of this game was Didier Droggba being on a bench, and oh man, how they needed him. As soon as he goes into the pitch, at minute 62, the Ivory Coast seems to be a completely different team, creating a lot of danger and a lot of offensive opportunities. It didn't take much time for the Ivory Coast to score. The ball is on the right with Serge Aurier. He crosses into the box and Wilfried Bony ties the game. The ball goes into the net and it's a score. It's goal for the Ivory Coast. The game is 1-1. In the next minute, once again, Aurier is on the right. He crosses the ball into the box, and Gervinho at the first post heads the ball into the net, and it's 2-1 for the Ivory Coast. In the first 5 minutes after Didier Droggba goes into the pitch, Ivory Coast seems to be a rejuvenated team, playing really well and going in front of the scoreboard. Japan at this point is an inexistent team. They can't seem to find a way to contradict what the Ivory Coast is doing and this change of mentality and way of playing of the African team. Till the end of the game, the Ivory Coast had a few more chances, especially through Drogba and through Caldo, but the game ends up 2-1 for the Ivory Coast, and this result was especially because of the last half an hour of the game where the Ivory Coast played wonderfully. For Japan, I think the only plus player that they had, even though in the first half they had a few good moments, was Keisuke Honda. He scored the goal and the operations had possession were controlled by him. For the Ivory Coast we had a few good players, one of them being Serge Aurier that assisted for both goals. Another player that had a great game was Artur Boca that had a few good chances. Gervinho in the beginning of the game and in the last 30 minutes also played really well, but for me the man of the match, even though he only played about half an hour, is Didier Droggba. He didn't have a direct influence on the goals, but as soon as he goes into the pitch, the Ivory Coast is a completely different team. They start playing really well, either through him or through other players. It was him that stole the 3 points from Japan and gave them to his country, the Ivory Coast. So everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment and share, and subscribe to my channel because there's still many more videos to go about the World Cup. I think that's about it. My name is Bruno Ferreira, and I'll see you next time.